A while back I found a very wacky little thing called the Tank Biathlon. Girls in Panzer was so popular they made it into a real thing, except this sport is actually safe and the people who take part in it do not have to fear about dying. In this video I will go over a bit of its history, talk about the tanks and the competition itself, and where it is now a decade after the first vehicles rolled around the racetrack. The Tank Biathlon is a mechanized military sport event where countries from all over the world participate to show who has the most skilled army. It's part of a bigger event known as the International Army Games. And here's where we get to a bit of a controversial part, as it's all hosted and organized by Russia.
Step back, I think I'm gonna vomit!
Now hear me out. Don't click away just yet. Don't do that. Don't do that. Let me explain a bit. The International Army Games is hosted by the Russian Ministry of Defense, who also provide all the tanks and supplies the participants need, which is quite generous to say. Often referred to as the War Olympics, the IAG has lots more to offer than just the Tank Biathlon. But without a doubt the Tank Biathlon is the most well known of them. Are you a fan of planes? Well, how about you check out the Avia Darts competition for flight crews? Or, do you hate planes and do you want to shoot them down? Well, good for you, you could watch the Clear Skies competition, a competition featuring anti-aircraft units. Do you think big beefy howitzers are nice, or have you played too many games in World of Tanks Artillery? Well, how about the Masters of Artillery Fire competition? The point is, there's a lot more than just big metal boxes driving around a muddy track. It's quite a big event with a theme park and souvenir shops and stuff. To be honest, I would love to get a Tank Biathlon souvenir, but that aside, they even have a recruitment station on site. So let's talk about the sport and what it's all about. The Tank Biathlon, as the name gives away, is inspired by the winter sport of biathlon. The sport takes into account the experience of tank crews, including their driving at high speeds capabilities and maneuvering through tricky obstacles, as well as putting the commander and the gunner up to some epic fire missions, where they need to show off accuracy and rapid fire. The sport has seen some changes over the years, but I'll explain how the modern day version of the sport works to, keep it simple. There are two divisions aptly named Divisions 1 and 2, and the best and most skilled teams are in the first division, while the lesser skilled teams or the new participants are in Division 2. The goal is to rank as high up the leaderboard as possible and win the finals, of course. Depending on the amount of nations taking part in the event, there are multiple individual races, and after that we get to the semi-finals and then the gold final. The finals are held between the 4 best teams of the divisions, and depending on what type of game it is, the track is actually different. In the finals, for example, the crews have to perform a flanking fire mission, but in other races it's a static fire mission. I chose to talk mainly about the finals, as those are without a doubt the coolest. Last year Russia, Belarus, China and Uzbekistan took part in the gold final, and here we have a screenshot of the track. Now fortunately I do not speak or understand Russian, so I can't translate it, but here are the basics. Here is what we got. The start is next to the stand, where after a short drive they have to climb up a small passage, which I like to call the takeoff runway, with some obstacles following shortly after that. After that they make a turn and climb up the slope. After that they get to the firing range, where each of the teams have to perform a different fire mission. The fire missions in the gold final include a flanking fire mission, an exercise where the crew has to drive while firing at targets located 1.6 to 1.8 kilometers away, representing tanks. The first shot has to be fired within 20 seconds, and missing these targets will result in the crew be given 2 penalty laps. The second fire mission is the coaxial fire mission. In this mission the gunner fires the coaxial machine gun at targets imitating anti-tank mortar or RPG infantry units. These targets are located around 600 to 700 meters away. The last fire mission revolves around the commander taking out 2 targets with the heavy machine gun mounted on the turret. The commander has to take out a helicopter target and an armored vehicle target. If the crew misses one of the targets in the machine gun missions, it results in 1 penalty lap. All the fire missions are done without any modern fire control systems. After the crew completed their fire mission, they either head straight on to the next obstacle or drive penalty laps. After the turn the crew has to maneuver the tank through a water obstacle, and after that a hill awaits them. The next obstacle is often referred to as the bowling alley, which I think is an awesome nickname, but strikes are definitely not welcome here. Hitting any of the poles throughout the track will result in a penalty pit stop for the crew. There are 8 penalty pit stop sites located throughout the track, so that crews can stop whenever is the best for them. Lastly, the tank has to pass through the anti-tank trench, and there you go, 1 round out of 4. In the finals, each crew has to drive 4 times around the track completing fire missions. And after that they stop at the finish and pass the tank on to the next crew. And so the cycle starts all over again. In total, 3 crews have to make the journey before the fastest team gets crowned the Victory Royale. Sometimes the crew could ask for a tank replacement. There aren't any restrictions or limits to this, but the crew will be punished with 1 penalty lap for each tank replacement. But we can't talk about the Tank Biathlon without tanks, of course. The absolute track legend is the T-72. The T-72 was developed back when the Soviet Union was still a thing in 1967. It was a further development of the T-64, which had high cost and used outdated developmental technology. The prototype vehicle, Object 172, is actually still in the Kubinka Tank Museum. It uses a 125mm smoothbore gun with an autoloader. It uses a V12 diesel engine, allowing it to go quite fast.
And avoid penalties. People's Republic of China will not be given careful now for the driver.
The T-72 has fought in a lot of wars, most recently in Ukraine. Unfortunately for them, most of them got obliterated. Yep, they're gone. But with 25,000 produced, I'm sure there's still some of them out there rolling and, being alive. The T-72 was exported to a lot of countries, so you could find one in a museum. They're not that rare actually. The variants used in the sport are the T-72B and the T-72B3. It's without a doubt that the T-72 will stay forever as the king of the track, as it's basically used by every nation. However, China has different ideals. They use the Type 96 or ZTZ-96. It's the final evolution of the Type 88 design, and it's in service with the People Liberation's Army since 1997. Roughly 2,500 units have been produced, and the characteristics are similar to the type, the T-72. It has a 125mm smoothbore gun with an autoloader, as well as a diesel engine. And there's actually quite more to this project than meets the eye, so it's interesting for sure. And all these tanks and all the equipment are again taken care of by the Russians for the sport, which is quite generous, just saying. In 2017, India used their own T-90 Bhishma, a variant of the T-90. However, both of those broke down, and therefore the Indian team wasn't able to complete the race and didn't make it past the semi-finals. GG bros, good job. The T-80U has also been spotted at the Tank Biathlon, but only for opening the show in 2013. It's also cool to look back at the tanks in 2013 and compare them to the tanks used last year. Much more detail and improvement. Great job, designers. So let's take a look at the participants. A surprise to no one is the fact that out of all the 10 times Russia organized the event, Russia won every time. Yep, that's right, Russia won all the 10 Tank Biathlons. If they did it, oh boy, that would be concerning for them. But looking at their competitors, it all makes sense. Besides Belarus, only one country in Europe took part, that being Serbia. For the rest, a lot of countries that were a former part of the Soviet Union, such as Kazakhstan, Armenia or Tajikistan, take part. Countries in Asia, such as Vietnam and Mongolia, also took part, and furthermore, a lot of countries in Africa took part in the competition. These countries usually have good relationships with Russia or support communism. Countries like Angola, Zimbabwe, Uganda and South Africa, which is also part of BRICS by the way, all of those countries took part. Other participants are Cuba, Qatar, Venezuela and Kuwait. The United States actually received an official invitation in 2013, and did they reject it? Well, yes, of course they rejected it. It's Russia and America, those two will never get along. Some of the more well-known people involved in the event are Yakov Ulanov, Dmitry Kuklin, Alexei Bakulov, Marshal Atariev, Daniil Nikolaev and Maxim Zarko. My god, I'm sorry for any of the Russians watching, just please. But what's up with the Tank Biathlon today? How about we look at it right now? Some of the games are documented on a YouTube channel called Combat Approved. It's part of a television show hosted by Alexei Ergorov, and I believe he also commentates on the Tank Biathlon streams. The channel itself seems to target all sorts of military enthusiasts, as the videos range from boats and submarines, all the way to artillery, tanks and aircraft. Most of the videos are in Russian, but they do have English subtitles, and the channel currently has 164,000 subscribers. Impressive.
Most impressive.
Once upon a time, there was actually also a little video game about the Tank Biathlon. It was available on Android and Apple, with it racking up over 10k downloads on the Google Play Store. In the game, people focus on completing the same tasks the crews did in the real life game. The graphics nowadays are far from cutting edge, but it was a pretty cool little game for its time. It has sadly now been removed from all the stores. War Thunder has also collaborated with the Tank Biathlon. In 2020 there was an in-game event which involved tanks from the Tank Biathlon, and alongside Wargaming, War Thunder regularly was involved with the sport event. The event is usually held in August, but if you look Tank Biathlon up on the channel or anything on the internet, there is no Tank Biathlon 2023. Which is very bad, it's outrageous, it's unfair. How could this happen when the commentators said this last year?
We are going to leave you soon, but we'll definitely be back next year, 2023, with more Tank Biathlon action. Take care of each other, dear friends. We're saying goodbye for the next 12 months. We'll be back. Take care of each other, love each other, and stay well.
Well, we could make a whole conspiracy theory about what happened and why it's cancelled, but we all know damn well what's going on in Ukraine. Many of Russia's Tank Biathlon champions such as Maxim Zarko, Bato Basanos and Alexei Bakulov have been killed in action. The Russian Ministry of Defense is likely concerned about the lack of high quality tank crews and other personnel needed to host the game, not to mention all the T-72s lost in Ukraine. And the fact that it's a war which is gonna take a very long time before it reaches a climax. Russia probably wants the T-72s fighting rather than competing in a stupid sports event for a little bit of fun and amusement, while Russian soldiers die next door. I believe that we can say that because of the war in Ukraine, which I'm definitely supporting Ukraine, let me make that clear, but because of the war, the Tank Biathlon got cancelled for 2023. Which is not poggies! Because let's be honest, where in the world can you find such an amazing combination of racing and shooting? Some may say Formula 1, others will say football or soccer, but the Tank Biathlon is in my opinion such a cool sport event. It's definitely a way better thing to use tanks in sports than in a war. So, could we hope for the return of the Tank Biathlon? I wish I could say yes, but looking at the harsh reality, this war ain't over anytime soon. So for as long as Russia is engaged with Ukraine, I believe it's safe to say that the Tank Biathlon saga has come to an end. However, it seems like the Combat Approved channel is still making videos and won't end anytime soon. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I could make more videos related to the Tank Biathlon in the future, as it's really such a cool little thing. Again, if you want to check out some Tank Biathlon by yourself, go over to the Combat Approved YouTube channel and go watch some live streams. Who knows, maybe if it returns in the future I could react live to these things, but you know, for now, some other stuff before people start commenting that I support Russia. No, I do not, just want to make that clear. I'm just a big fan of the Tank Biathlon, and all this war going on is rather unfortunate. Let's hope things settle down and we can enjoy some epic tank moments from drifting to laser aim in the Tank Biathlon of 2024. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, like and share this one, and I hopefully will be seeing you all in the next one.